Beginner's Guide, Love and Other Chemical Reactions.
By Six de los Reyes.
Out of scientific curiosity, done with my rice box, I set it aside. With you being the obvious expert here, how would you behave if this were a date?
Normally.
He wiped his mouth and his hands with a paper towel.
I'd let the other person do all the talking, but I have a feeling my normal approach is useless here. What is it?
What is what?
You're smiling.
I immediately covered my mouth with my hand. What would your date talk about? He shrugged and collected our trash into a pile.
Ex-partners, work, some other person they know, movie, some show or podcast, something they read on the internet. You know, small talk.
I'm not proficient in small talk or any form of socialization. I often find myself not knowing what to say or how to begin or maintain a conversation.
I know, but that's all right. And that's why you find someone who likes to talk. That way you compliment each other.
There was simply nothing to talk about. What would you talk about on a date? He finished his water first before answering.
There really isn't a set of conversation topics labeled date and not date. It's not what you're talking about, it's how you talk about it. You know, the purpose is to get to know each other. Kind of like your questionnaire, but less job interview, a little more date-like.
More date-like?
There would be flirting involved. Maybe some casual touching.
He leaned closer and nudged my arm with his elbow. Warmth spread from the contact point. Strange. And kissing?
Sometimes, if I have permission.
Our eyes met. Do you ask or?
Sometimes. Depends on the vibe. Why the interest in kissing?
I've never been kissed before. I breathed. It was a curious sensation to want him to know such an intimate detail of my life. She must have kissed so many people before. I wonder how I would rate on a scale. What's that like?
It's different every time. There really isn't just one explanation.
Remember what I said about MHCs? I was just reading this paper last night about how kissing is one way to determine genetic compatibility. It's just a hypothesis, and even evolutionary psychologists don't really have answers. There isn't any one hypothesis either.
You know, why am I not surprised that you've read about this?
Our heads had leaned closer together as his voice dropped, and I wished to hear him better. The slight pause in the conversation led to eyes fleeting, mine glancing at his dark brown eyes, and his down to my mouth. Unconsciously, I licked my lips, and I saw the way his Adam's apple bobbed in his throat. How does that usually happen? The kissing? I asked. His head was now very close to mine.
Well,
Our eyes met again. I felt dizzy. Dizzy like when, as a child, you'd spin around and around and around until you fell into the sand to watch the world swirling around you. I suddenly had this irrepressible urge to press my lips against his. But thunder clapped jarringly close, startling me out of my trance. Droplets of rain hit my face, and Hero and I stumbled out of our high stools and into the street. Rain came down on us, heavy and cold. Before I knew it, my hand was in his hand, and we were racing toward any awning big enough to shelter us both. Nero laughed as he pulled me across the road. I'd read before somewhere that in times of extreme disturbances, your brain was capable of fooling you into thinking time moves slower than normal as the physical realm you inhabit fell away. All I could think that it might as well have been the first time I heard him laugh. This loud and this much. Why are we stopping? We made it halfway back to Inlab. Drenched in a sudden downpour, seeking shelter was no longer a priority.
I forgot something.
What was it? I started back toward the direction from which we came. De Niro tapped me on the shoulder and in a move I had not anticipated, spun me around and kissed me. My mind was blank. Utterly blank. My mind was never blank. Every living second my brain was processing the world around me, taking in various stimuli, communicating between cells, and interpreting information into sensation and action. But at that moment, my brain was a complex network of neurons and synapses that had shut down. Until one by one, my senses had come back to life. First, there were Nero's lips. Then, there were his hands. Then his scent. And then his body. And then everything all at once. Nothing in my years of study could have ever prepared me for this. Though my body seemed to do just fine without my conscious control. That even without me having to think it, my body would have continued on its own accord. Nero leaned back first.
That. I forgot to do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. He brought the laugh.
You're welcome.